In NASA's design challenge of building a satellite to orbit the moon with various materials, I was tasked with being a bit of the teacher and the student. The main constraints were adhering to the engineering design process shown here, as well as the build constraints of fitting in a container and having a maximum weight of 10 grams. There were many challenges with the build and understanding of what it takes to have a satellite be capable of orbiting the moon. Questions which arose included clarifying the mission, understanding the payload, which was set at a maximum of 10 grams, and a construction that could survive the rigorous travel environment until deployed to space. In our test environment, this was a drop from 1 meter. I was also curious how the satellite might need to maneuver once in space. I was able to gather a variety of materials shown here, but it was not easy. Summer travels found me not in my classroom with all of the materials I normally have around me. I had to improvise. I was able to find a scale, glue gun, and assorted bits and bobs. Corks from vineyards, a scale from a liquor store, Splenda from the breakfast at the restaurant, buttons from an antique store, and assorted castaways from here and there. All very similar to the path engineers and designers take in arriving at their final design. Throughout my search for materials, I found myself constantly imagining what I could construct to represent the various components of the satellite. The planning stage was perhaps the most interesting, as my improvising the materials and constraints had me searching a small town for items that it simply did not have. I was stuck until I wasn't. It is amazing what antique stores have when you let them know you are a teacher. Back doors and corners and crevices suddenly open up. Partnerships are struck up and you find yourself going from Lisa's Flowers to Jim's Antiques to Lisa's sister Christina's Octagon House, all in search of buttons and a scale. As I created the satellite, I realized that scale was a big factor. As a teacher, I might enhance this a bit in the lesson to include minimum sizes rather than just maximum size. At first I thought, I'll fill up the oatmeal container. I'll fill up the entire cylinder with the satellite. Then I thought, why would I do that? I could become smaller, more intricate. I was also betting I could survive the 1 meter drop more intact if I was smaller. As I sailed through the challenge, I started looking at how I might improve things, both as a student and as a teacher. I added foil to the satellite as a final touch. As a teacher, I had many thoughts upon reflection, albeit lots of reading and investigating in what NASA has to offer. The lesson left me wondering where the discussions were. Where was the tie to the scientist at NASA? Where was the virtual field trip with the class? Where was the actual satellite project in NASA with a deep, interesting connection? Perhaps these exist and I have not yet found them. As a student, these questions were unanswered. As a teacher, I need to answer these questions and build more constraints with more real-world challenge. I suspect that subsequent lessons in this program deepen, and this is only the beginning. Thanks for listening.